Okay, sounds good. 3, 2, 1, and we're live. So today on the VillageMade podcast, we have another person that I consider my brother. Growing up, he's basically over my house, or we were over at his house.
Yes, sir.
Today we have Arthur Allen Bridenstine. I'm just kidding. We'll get into that. This is Afa.
Yeah.
And thanks for coming. Thanks for taking some time out and appreciate it.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
So today we're going to be talking a little bit about the village that raised you, and then also a little bit about AV Build Utah, which is the company that you started. And so let's just get straight into it. Sorry. For those who don't know, I guess what ethnicity are you?
I'm Tongan.
Where were you born and raised?
I was born and raised in Koku. Born at Koku Hospital. One of the last ones that was able to be born in that hospital. And I was raised in Koku my whole life.
Nice. How many siblings do you have?
So I have two siblings. I have an older brother and an older sister. But you know how it is in the poly family. I have many siblings.
So you mentioned that you're Tongan. So who migrated from Tonga to Hawaii?
So my grandparents, my grandpa, Inoke Vimahi, him and his wife, Maile Vimahi, they migrated. They brought their kids. And we were the first generation born here, so.
So I guess just going back to the beginning when I called you Arthur Allen, can you go ahead and just explain what that is, and then the name change, I guess, or the name?
So my mom, she's the first out of our family to marry outside the race. She married Ba'alangi, she married Caucasian, and she married a guy named Troy Bridenstine. And had the two kids, and I just came down from the heavens, and we went from there. But my birth name was Arthur Allen Bridenstine, and I could never relate to the name, so that's just a long story in itself. But now the name I go by is Afa Vimahi.
Nice. So that Vimahi, do you know the meaning of the last name?
I don't. Honestly, you got to ask my older siblings on that. But I do know that we migrated from Pangai Ha'apai. And, our family, along with the church, coming from Pitavi, there's a story with that correlates with Tongan history that I don't want to butcher. So we're not going to talk about that. But my grandpa, he's the blood of that, and we came from him.
Gotcha. So the V's and the Vimahis are the same, I'm assuming, just because of the same family.
Same family. I don't know when the switch up happened, but I believe it was here in America. Some of my mother's siblings, they took V, and the others took Vimahi. And I just took Vimahi. Gotcha.
So you mentioned that your grandparents moved to Hawaii.
Yeah.
Do you know the reasoning for them moving to Hawaii?
They obviously is for better living, for more opportunity, as we were told. But I just believe that they're pioneers. I just believe that they wanted to, navigate and move forward, and plant their feet in something new and call it their own. And that's what I believe. I think my grandparents just wanted, because who knows? We can sit here and say better opportunity, but how do they even know that? Back in their time, no social media, nothing. They just word of mouth. They hear that a distant land has, these opportunities that they want to seek. But I just believe they just wanted to try something new.
Probably heard it was greener on the other side.
Yeah, right.
Gotcha. So, do you know how they ended up in Koku once they got to Hawaii?
I believe it's with the church. I think they were on a church visa, a work visa, to help out with the temple. My grandparents, they rooted at PCC. That's where their careers were, and where they made income to provide for their family. And they were farmers on the side. That's what they did to feed themselves and to sell as well. They taught us a lot of their trade and a lot of the good attributes that they have, work ethic, and that's what I thrive on. I thrive on work ethic. So.
I imagine you have some good stories about the farm.
Oh yeah.
Growing up.
I honestly I never wanted to go. I hated it, but I was the youngest growing up, so I had to go, you know. And now that I look back on it, the times that I spent with my grandpa, you know, I really cherish those moments. Didn't know he was teaching me lifelong lessons that I would, you know, apply today, but he was teaching me. He was teaching me the whole time, and a lot of it wasn't with his mouth. It was just with his work. He's just blood, sweat, and tears every day, just up early, working hard, never complained, and that was him. But he taught me a lot at the farm. He taught me a lot with raising his family, and so. Yeah, he's my father figure, for sure. I learned how to be a man through him. And yeah.
I have a good memory of your grandpa.
Yeah.
With his banana trees.
Yeah, I know. You do. You have a great memory. Mr. Samurai over here.
So what happened?
So I come home. I don't know where I was. I think I was at the park or something. I was a little kid. And I see my grandpa, he's loading his shotgun. He had a 12 gauge double barrel. And I'm wondering where he's going. He's loading it up, going in his truck. He's pissed. My grandma's yelling at him. Come to find out, my brother here and his good friend, Bryson Genlack, they went to town and they just took a machete and just started cutting these trees. I bet it felt good because it's easy to cut, but I think you guys were like 20 deep. My grandpa wanted blood. He wanted blood. But yeah, it was a good lesson all around.
That's funny. So, what was childhood like for you growing up in Koku?
I was blessed because I was a wild child. You know, I always did me. I always was adventurous, and I had my friends, and we always did crazy things. But I was grateful that the community we grew up in, everyone knew each other. So I had parents all over the place taking care of us. Who knows what we could have done? We could have killed ourselves millions of times with the stuff that we got away with. But I loved it. I was always outdoors. I was always doing something active. And I just felt like we were able to really be kids and not have to worry about the fears that we face nowadays. Or I felt like we didn't have to worry about those things, killing, kidnapping, and all that. We were out all hours of the night and still managed to get home safely. Yeah, so I love where I come from. It really taught me how to have courage and be adventurous and do things outside the box.
What were some of your more adventurous activities and stories?
Oh, man, the list goes on. Many things. We would build clubhouses on hills and then burn hills down, and we would chase cats. That's another story. We would raise chickens, fight chickens. We would play all kinds of sports, very competitive. We would go and look for bikes. Another story. We would camp. We did a lot of things. We would go to waterfalls, beach, hiking, you name it. We just lived.
Gotcha. So growing up, what were some of the Tongan traditions that you were raised with in the home?
In the home, home cooked meals was one of the biggest things. I hated it. Again, I didn't realize I had it good, but my grandparents, they always made sure we had a hot meal for dinner, and I would always, try to run away, eat McDonald's or something. Didn't really understand what was going on, but home cooked meals, they taught family is number one. Cultural traditions, they did the whole nine. They funerals, putus, they went all in. weddings. They went all in. Yeah, just everything. They were about it, and my grandparents, they definitely hated us adopting the American lifestyle, but it was kind of contradicting because they moved us here. So
Right.
it was kind of weird, but they were rooted, and they knew what they wanted and how they wanted to live. And I think, farming was one of the greatest things that I learned from them.
Nice. Did you speak Tongan in the home?
Only to my grandparents. My mother, she, I believe she found it very difficult finding jobs, going to school, because she came, I think she was still in high school. She came, and you know how it is. Those, we call them fobs. When they come in, they kind of are looked at differently or looked down on. And I believe my mom took the blunt of that. She definitely, I wouldn't say she got teased, because she never really talked about it, but she was embarrassed in her occupation.
Also, growing up, was it hard to find your identity among your peers?
Yeah, I was all over the place, honestly, because you look at me, there's not a hint of Caucasian in me, but here I am walking around with a Caucasian name,
Right.
first, middle, and last. And so in school was definitely the trigger of me understanding that I didn't know who I was, because when we would have roll call, people would say my name, or the teacher would call my name, and I would say here. And if it was the first day of school, I already had 10 people asking me, 10 other kids. It's like, what? That's your name? Who are you? Where do you come from? And I'm like, shoot, down the street. I was born and raised here just like you, but at the same time, I was treated like an outsider because my name. And so I didn't have an identity, especially because my father wasn't in the picture. My mother was single throughout my elementary years, and then she remarried. And so, but even though she remarried, my stepfather was in California. So I didn't really have a father, and it was hard in our community. Our community is really small, tight knit, and there was a lot of father son activities, and that's what really pushed me away, made me an angry child. Because I was lost, I would try to hide my pain through anger, and got in a lot of fights and arguments for no reason, stupid reasons. And yeah, you hit it on the nail. I didn't have an identity, so I try to create one. I try to be more of a man at a younger age, to prove that I don't need a man in my life to teach me how to be a man, if that made sense. But all while along, I had a grandfather that was teaching me all these things anyway. So, it's just crazy. You don't really see what you got. You only know what you don't have, and that's what you point, or that's what you focus on. And when I did that, I was lost. So it was a hard childhood, I could say, but looking back on it, I had everything in place. I had family, I had friends, I had a good community.
You had the village.
I had the village.
Behind you, yeah.
And so now I see that, and I'm grateful for it. So my focus is placed in a more positive light, and I just try to thrive now. I try to push rather than blame like I used to.
So with what you went through, facing the identity issue or the identity crisis, what are some advice that you can give to people who are going through the same identity crisis now, maybe the younger generation?
Ask questions. I'm a real mama's boy. I saw her pain, and I didn't want to flood her with my pain, so I never asked questions. I never knew what happened. I never knew I even had a dad. I never knew who I was, and so I kind of just bottled it in and didn't want to bother her. But ask questions. I'm sure your parents would love to have that, not love, but they would do that conversation for you out of love. And not only ask questions, but accept who you are based off of your environment and the people that love you that are in your life. If you focus on those two things, you create your own identity, and you don't have to live off of someone else's. And the number one thing is love yourself. If you don't love yourself, then everyone will see through it. They'll see through the lies, they'll see through the anger, they'll see through the cries, and they'll know that you don't even know who you are. So how can they respect you if you don't respect yourself? So yeah, just those three things. Ask questions, create your own identity, and love yourself.
Nice. So just on this topic of identity, have you figured it out? Do you think you figured yourself out and have like a base identity for yourself nowadays?
Definitely. I know who I am. I know who surrounds me that loves and cares about me. And I know what I want to do and where I want to go. So I definitely feel I have an identity.
Nice. So when you were going through this when you're younger, is that how you got into, or I guess finding friends that helped you along the way as well?
Oh, yeah.
Is that how you found Sifa?
Yeah. Lifelong friends. You know, me and Sifa from diapers, you know, we've been friends forever. And it's weird because when growing up, we were so different, but at the same time, we were so alike. And you know, along with him, I had numbers of friends, but I'm just grateful that, you know, there was always a brotherhood. There was always a pack that we rolled in, and not only in sports, but just day-to-day living, just hanging out. We slept next to each other, wore each other's clothes, whatever. We did everything together. So yeah, I'm grateful for the close friends that I still have to this day.
And then that also goes back to, I guess, or the going to the Tongan ward. Mm-hmm. That kind of helped with all that, right?
Oh yeah.
K3.
Oh yeah, K3.
So for you, is it important to hold on to culture?
Of course, I believe culture. See, culture is what is culture? You know what I mean? Culture is just it's an identity or positive things that you carry on, that you like to identify yourself with because you're proud of it. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people, they don't attach negative things to culture, although some things cannot be overlooked. But yeah, if you focus on culture, you'll know where you come from, and it'll be a lot easier for you to focus in on where you want to go and how you want to use the attributes or the things you bring from culture out in your own world, in your own life.
I guess that's because that's a question nowadays, you know, having the American culture and your Tongan culture.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a line that you draw that, you know, you can pick and choose from each, or, you know, where do you know, like what can you do, I guess? But yeah, now that you're a father and you have a son, what are some of the cultural things that you want to pass on to him?
Wow, that's a great question. You know, you say you love kids, but until you have a kid or until you have someone that you truly love, that you see growing up in front of your eyes, is when you realize that every move, every action you make, they're watching. And watching, you know, having my son watch me, I definitely, first and foremost, I just want him to be healthy. And even beyond that, I want him to respect women. I want him to understand where he comes from and take that Polynesian culture that he comes from and bring it out in his life. You know, be respectful. Always work hard. Always put family first and God above all. And, you know, we can only do so much as parents, but every little thing counts, right?
Right. So do you think your grandparents would be proud of the person that you are today?
I hope so.
For the sacrifices they made to move here to the States?
I hope so. I hope they're proud. 'Cause because I hope they know how proud I am of them and how grateful I am of them for everything they've done for us. All the hidden lessons that I took and that I'm, reflecting back on today. It's just beautiful to know that I had grandparents as great as them. And I just hope they're proud. I hope they are, because I definitely have them in mind with everything I try to do and succeed in.
Gotcha. So for, I guess going back into high school, do you remember what your hopes and dreams were in high school?
Sure.
What you wanted to be when you get up?
Yeah, I wanted to play in the NFL. You know how it is in Koku.
Yep. Can you talk about that?
Yeah. I thought it was bright. My future was bright in football. Definitely succeeded in the high school level, and I always felt like I was good, but I could be better. And so, with hard work, I thought when I went to college I was just gonna kill it, and then go from there. But my life took a different path. Definitely in college, when I made certain decisions that took me off of that football path, and at the time it put me in a slight depression of understanding who I was or what I wanted to do, because I never thought about occupation. I never thought about what I'm gonna get my degree in or any of that. I just thought, oh yeah, I'm gonna play sports and we gonna make money and that's it. But it definitely wasn't it.
Which leads me to, so after high school you got a scholarship.
Yeah.
Played at the U.
Yeah.
And then that's where you said some decisions didn't go well.
Yeah, it was it was a little more complicated than that, because I threw in the mix LDS church mission that kind of closed some doors on me, but it opened other doors. And so when I did come here to Utah to play at Utah, things were looking up, and I was going into my second year there. I was put on the roster. I was put on the traveling. We were moving. We were making moves, and I let my anger get the best of me, and I fell into some assault charges, and I thought it was the end of me, but it really was just a defining moment in seeing if I was gonna bounce back up or if I was gonna let that take me down and go all the way down to the ground. But everything happens for a reason, I believe, and it just depends on, in those defining moments, what road you take after that would determine your future.
I like that. So just bouncing back from those losses, from taking that L, what happened next? Did you go back to school, or did you start working?
I tried to continue school. I tried to take a slight detour on the football path to try and make it back up. But football is cutthroat. They you make one small mistake, and they won't bring you back. And so, and my level of focus, of my level of, what's the word I'm looking for, of determination in the sport itself, it was just kind of lost. And so there was a slight hope that I would take that route again, so I kind of stuck with it for an extra year or two, and then I fell off. I told myself, it's too far off. I need to move on. And so that's what I did. I moved on. I put my focus in what mattered most. And at the time, it was my girlfriend. She was my rock. She held me down through my hard times, my depression. And she made me realize that there's still beauty at the end of the tunnel. And so I told myself, lock it down. And so be a man. So I grew up, asked her to marry me, and then we got married. And then ever since we got married, she's always been my rock. She's my team. Everyone was with a success story, I believe, has a great team. You have to have a great team, and she's my team. And definitely the person in the behind the scenes that is working extra hours to get me going to where I feel, I'm happy today.
You mentioned depression,
Mm-hmm.
and your wife was being there for you and being able to get you out of that.
Oh yeah.
Was there anything else or other things that you would lean on that got you out of it, or just mainly her?
Well, it was her. She was definitely the one in the backgrounds, but it wasn't just her. It was her pushing me towards God, and so she put me back on the right path. And I found not only happiness, but I found joy, and she taught me a lot of valuable lessons of putting my knowledge, my focus, my understanding towards the right things. And it got me out. I never took medicine for depression. I never talked to anybody about it. I know those are two things you shouldn't do, because there's so much help out there nowadays. But she saw my pain and she helped me out. And so, yeah.
Shout out to the
shout
wifey.
out, Tatiana. I love you. That's my team. That's
what's up. So, I guess just coming out of that, what were some of the jobs? So, sorry, going back a little bit.
Yeah.
Now that you are with AV Build Utah.
Yes.
Before that, what were some of the jobs that you held before you got into?
Man, I bounced around. I was working with a temp agency, and I've done several jobs here in Utah alone. I've probably done over 12, 15 jobs, and there wasn't a job that didn't want me, that didn't want to hire me for leadership, take me on, because I always put everything on the line, and I put my pride in my work, and I felt good in that, but I knew that I was wrong in bouncing. And so more recently, I was put in amazing jobs. Another shout out, P Squared. It's a maintenance residential company. They gave me the opportunity to lead and to realize my true potential in what I love to do and use my hands. I love to build things, and through that job, I realized that, if this is what I love to do and it's good money, it's a good industry, why wouldn't I try to exploit that? And why wouldn't I try to push towards owning my own? And so that's what I did. I did P Squared, and for as long as I could, and I'm grateful for everything they taught me, and they pushed me forward to starting my own company. Yeah.
When did you start AV Build Utah, and how long have you been in business?
We're going on 13, 14 months now. We're going on 14 months. I started last year in January. I ran a quick job. It was just a small paint, drywall repair job. But it taught me valuable lessons in material, in labor, and I went from there. I went into some great clients that chose me for basement remodeling, and that's when the light kind of went on in understanding that in the residential world I really couldn't compete with home builders, but each home builder, no matter who it was, Century, Ivory, Richmond, they always left their basements unfinished. And so why wouldn't I try to tag along on the production home building frenzy that's happening here in Utah and just try to finish out these basements for far less than what these production home builders are charging them to finish out these basements.
Nice. So that's basically what you do now, is basement remodeling or basement finishing.
So we do basement remodeling, and then we do residential concrete. So we can pour sidewalks, driveways, concrete pads, firewalks, fireplaces.
So what are some of your favorite projects that you've worked on?
Last year I had a project that I worked on, and the clients were just amazing. They made me love the work because when your clients are happy, understanding, and on your side, it makes you want to do more and do better for your clients. And so they taught me it's not all about money, and they taught me that although you want to just think of production and efficiency, you have to think more on the quality side. And so they taught me to really love what I do, and put my name on everything that I touch, whether it's framing, insulation, drywall, electric, flooring, bathroom finishes, trim, doors, anything. Just put your name on it, and so that's kind of the route we're going to take now. We're going to go more, yes, production, because we need to be up and running, but we're going to go more on the efficiency, on the quality side, along with our affordable stand that we're trying to take in these basement remodels.
So would you say you found your passion?
Of course. Yeah, I did.
Would your passion and your purpose be the same thing at this point, or is it still two different things? Or?
It's two different things.
Okay.
It's two different things, because my purpose is to be financially independent, and what I believe financial independence is 7 streams of income or more. There's multiple books that will teach you that when you put yourself in a position where you have passive income, that's when you can really do what you want to do. Because this is my passion, but if I had to compare it to something, this is my passion compared to a job, but this may not be my passion compared to a vacation. You know what I mean?
Right.
So would I want to be in Tahiti, or would I want to be doing a basement? And so it's just what you compare it to. And so, yeah, I want to get to the point where I own multiple businesses or streams of income that will put me in a position where I can just be with my family, the people I love most, and do whatever it is that we want to do.
Charlie, did they teach you that at Koku?
Hey, honestly, I've never met a place, or I've never been in a place. I lived in several states, and I lived overseas, and I've never been in a small community with more entrepreneurs than Koku. I really haven't. You look at Koku, there's entrepreneurs everywhere. They sell Lays. There's foods. There's stands. There's food stands, fruit stands. You look at Koku now. There's all kinds of food trucks. Everyone's just grinding. Everyone's trying to make ends meet. Everyone's hustling. People going around mowing lawns and cutting trees and building rock walls, and it's just crazy because I didn't even know what the word entrepreneur was until I got to college. That's pretty sad, but yeah, I didn't even know what that was. But here I am in a household where all my uncles, they run their own side gigs. My grandpa, he runs his own business, his farming business. We would sell manioke, ufi, the whole nine, gumala, and so he ran his own business. I have an older sister. She has her own business. I have a brother that used to run his own business, and he actually was one of his big jobs. He split that down the middle with me and taught me a lot about finances and labor. And so I had all these people in my life that ran businesses. My mother ran her own business, and Koku just has a lot of people that are entrepreneurs. And I think we're blessed because you don't really hear that when you think about Koku. You only hear loving community, football town, but you don't hear the hustle. Everybody's got a business over there.
Selling kava,
anything. They're out there selling it, and it's crazy. You see the kids, they're selling pogs. They're selling, strawberry belts. And
when graduation time comes around, all the lay stands.
all the lay stands. You got the monopole truck hustling.
Selling food or
selling food,
or some kind of lunch plate. Always have.
You always had your houses on the side that had ices. They made 50 cents on these ices that probably cost them 5-6 cents per cup that they were selling it. It's just like we came from a place that really pushed you to do your own thing. We just didn't see it, or at least I didn't see it.
I agree. That's crazy. I guess for you kind of touched on it on success. What does success mean to you? Or what does it look like to you?
Happiness. It really is. I think when all is said and done, your most important thing in this life is the way you can treat others or your interaction with other human beings. And, beyond the green, the money, chasing the money, beyond that, when you pass, you want people to remember you as a good person, that they treated you good. And I think, or I believe, true success is putting yourself in a position where not only could you be a good friend, can you be a good brother, but you can provide, whether it's employment or if it's, donations or just something, simply as time. Because our biggest thing, or the thing that we should value the most, is time. Because nowadays, we're trading our time for far less than what we should be. And that's a whole nother topic, but
let's go into it if you want to.
I just believe that we get caught up in this world where we feel like, especially with social media around, we feel like we have to put all our time into trying to prove to other people how good we are, rather than try to prove to ourselves how good we are, and putting ourselves in a position to help people and let them know through your actions that you're a good person, rather than through your pictures, through your videos, what they see you doing. You're on the beach and who knows where, living while they're at work, working a 9 to 5. I think that comparison, or that belief in feeling that you have to kind of try to fake the front and prove on social media how good you're doing, people get lost in that. And it takes a lot of time away from what you should be doing. And that's focusing on yourself and focusing on the people around you, your tight circles. And the whole reason for that is so that you can put yourself in a position to actually help these people. You know what I mean? And so I think we give up time way too easy nowadays. Our time is given for less for pennies right now, and I'm guilty. I do it all the time. I sit and stare on that screen, wondering how successful this other person is doing, rather than trying to focus on myself. And how do we combat that? What is our abatement to getting our time back? You know what I mean? That's a question right there. And so I want my time back, and I want to free up time. And the only way you can free up time is you put your focus on what you can control. If you put your focus on what you can control, you'll get that time back as quicker than you would if you just continue to look at what other people are doing.
I like that. Are you and Sifo brothers? No. So Sifo said the same thing.
Oh,
he
real
was
talk?
talking about, I asked him what success looks like to him. He said that time with his family is what means success to him. So he says some days he's more successful than others. Some days he got to work longer. Some days he doesn't have to work as much. But just time with his family equals success. So,
man,
I was like,
facts.
Hey, that's kind of like what you're talking about, time,
Shout out to my best friend. That's facts. Yeah, I believe that.
Some days you're more successful than others. I know you got jobs that you work late into the night.
Yeah.
So you're not successful that day, but other days you don't have to work as much. So,
amen.
The time you get to spend with your family, you call that a successful day. So
yeah.
That's a dub. I know that you get pretty busy.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you manage stress?
I hit my head on the wall. Now I was just playing. I honestly, I'm not beating dead horse, but I go back to my team. You know, I get stressful. There's times that really take everything out of me, but I come home and I got a wife that loves me, and that, you know, she talks me through things and she helps me. And then I got a son, just nothing but pure joy. He's just happy, just for whatever, a piece of Lego. And you know, when I see those two, I see my team, it brings me back to earth and understanding what truly matters, and it's them happy. And you know, when they're happy, it makes me more happy. And so my team helps me manage stress. Another thing that helps me manage stress is weird, but I work harder. You know what I mean? You know, a lot of people, when they work and they're stressful, they feel like work is the first thing that needs to go. But when you let go of work, then your mind really has more time to wander, and you put yourself down this spiral of being more stressful, more worried. And you know, there's a saying that I really love, and I go by. It's, you know, work is good, but hard work is better. And if you work harder, I don't think you'll have time to stress. And that's what I try to do. I just try to go to the max always.
A lot of people, in, you know, the face of, you know, being stressed or, you know, things that happen in their life, they cower, you know.
Yeah.
But it sounds like for you, you just keep it going, you know, and making work.
Well, like, I'm not trying to say I'm Superman or anything, but I think a place you need to be, or a place you need to understand, is when you are stressful, when you are weighed down, you need to realize that moment and sit down and try to work through it. You know what I mean? And so I always liken it to putting on bags. You know, when you're stressful, you feel weighed down, and so you put on your bags. But because I'm in the construction field, I think about what's in your bags. You know what I mean? You take that stress and you could create a brick to put in that bag, or you can create a hammer. You can create a tool to put in that bag, and that weight turns into something that's better for your good than it is for something that's just holding you back. And so anything that weighs me down, I try to look, how's this weighing me down, and how am I going to use it or apply it to help me do something better. And so, like, for instance, when I'm angry, if I'm at work and I'm angry, I take that anger and turn it into efficiency. And so if I'm angry at something, I sit down, I take a breather, and I tell myself, how am I going to take this task and be more efficient at it? And then I go balls to the wall and I run with it. And then it helps me finish the task, and it makes me happier, because when your tasks are finished, you're clean, you know, and when you're clean, your mind's clean. And so yeah, you got to learn to work through it, really. And then you got to soak it in as you're doing that. So the next time you are weighed down, you're more comfortable in that area, right, in that zone, you know?
Dang. Okay, I like that. For the young entrepreneurs coming up, especially our Polynesian entrepreneurs,
yeah,
you starting your AV Build Utah, what advice would you give to our young entrepreneurs on taking that leap of faith?
More like 90% of people that, you know, have a dream or start something, they quit right before they succeed. And I would just tell each and every one of them, don't quit. Because early on in my business, I had a job that went sideways on me. I completed the job, but they didn't pay half of it. I only got 50% pay. And anyone that knows business, that 50% only covered material and the labor under me. So I lost. Not only did I lose, did I not make anything, I lost on that. And so that could have broke me. I could have, you know, took that as I'm not ready. Let's back up and not do this anymore. No, I lined up 6 other jobs behind that, and I got that money back and then some. And so I would just tell them, just don't quit. 90% of people that start something, they quit right before they're about to succeed. And so you just go all in. You got to go all in.
I guess that's one of the lessons that you took from taking an L, a loss in business.
Yeah.
What are some other business tips that you can give?
Know your numbers. It's when it comes to business, everything is ran on numbers, and I take it as you have better odds if you put yourself out there more, and if you have a business that relates to clients, then you could just flood yourself with more clients and more potentials. The more odds you'll have, that will be in your favor. And I just believe that the more detailed you are in your numbers, the better you can be. Because it's very easy for me to run a bid and just get laxy on it and say, you know what, this isn't exactly like the last bid, but it's kind of like it, so I'm just going to run the same number. But, the potential losses could be thousands, just with that simple thought, if not 10,000. And so I don't want to take that loss. Or on the flip side, the gain on that could be 1,000 or 10,000. So just know your numbers. Be detailed in your numbers. And when I mean numbers, I'm not just talking the green. I'm talking your labor. I'm talking the numbers of flyers that you have to have, the numbers of clicks on your social media. That all matters.
Speaking of numbers, I just wanted to highlight this about math and Afa and how good you are in math.
I'm all right.
Nah, I just remember Sifa telling me that you didn't take any math classes in high school.
Yeah.
Or you were able to, skip or test out of it or something?
Yeah, I did placement tests.
So these numbers come easy to you, huh? Which is a good thing for your business.
Yeah, I got lucky. Yeah.
Nice. So, well, again, appreciate your time. Appreciate some of the knowledge that you've been, you've imparted on us.
No, thank you guys. Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me.
Oh, I guess, where can people find you on social media?
Oh, at AV Build Utah. I'm on Instagram. I love to use Instagram more because it's all pictures, and that's what my business thrives on, is pictures. So follow me. If you follow me, like me, and tag any of my pictures with 3 friends, I'm actually going to give away a Milwaukee M18 radio, a stereo. So I'm going to do a giveaway soon. I know it's a work site stereo, but it's actually a stereo that's dust-proof, waterproof, the whole 9, and it comes with a battery that can last a day or 2.
Here we go. It's the first giveaway on our podcast, guys.
So I'm doing a giveaway. I'm coming here for exposure and for my brother. And so, just do those things. Just follow me, like any picture, and tag 3 friends in the comments box. And I'm going to do that giveaway.
Awesome. Sorry, last question before we end this.
Of course.
What do you think Polynesians can teach the world?
Can teach the world that it doesn't matter how small of a nation or of a culture or of a group of people we are, we can impact. We can make an impact on this world based not only on hard work, but on love. I think, our culture, we bring the love, and how scary, people may think we are. Love runs in our veins, and we love each other, and we love our families, and we could love you if you love us.
All right. And then I guess just to end, I have got a few questions.
Yeah, of course.
Just to get to know you a little bit more. Of course. For those who are... for those who want to know a little bit more about Arthur Allen.
Let's go.
What takes up too much of your time?
What takes up too much of my time? Social media.
What do you wish you knew more about?
Wow. Let's
Come back to that?
We'll come back to
what
that.
inspires you?
My wife.
What are some things that you had to unlearn?
That work without vision, you're going nowhere.
What's your favorite book?
Oh, probably be the last one I read. It was a Robert Kiyosaki book.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. If you could spend a day with someone dead or alive, who would it be?
My grandfather.
What is special about the place you grew up?
Love, tight-knit community.
What have you only recently formed an opinion about?
Politics. Holy hell.
Senor Trump?
Oh, let's not go. Let's not go.
What's the luckiest thing that's happened to you?
My son.
What song will guarantee to make you dance? Go for it. What is it? Yeah, I know you're already thinking of it.
I don't know. I'm trying to think. I don't know.
I guess any of those church dance songs y'all remember when
Right.
you were in youth?
Throwback. Lucky Dubé gets me every time.
What are you most looking forward to in the next 10 years?
Traveling.
What could you give a 40-minute presentation on with no preparation?
Sewage lines.
What hobby would you get into if time and money weren't an issue?
Coaching.
When people come to you for help, what do they usually want help with?
Painting.
What is something you think everyone should do at least once in their life?
Fall in love.
Which of your scars has the best story behind it?
Lost of a loved one.
Scars?
Yeah. Oh, you mean like
Which
on my
on
body?
your body.
Holy heck. Scar on my face.
What's the story behind it?
Right over here on my side. So when we were younger, what did we say? We used to always say for the boys. We said, do it for the boys. And we were on this dirt hill, and I was on a bike that was two clicks away from falling apart. Cross hill?
Okay.
Cross hill. It was the big hill. And it was the water tank road, and we came flying all the way down. And right before I made the turn, one of my friends yelled out for the boys. And so I said, yup, for the boys. And so I went all the way down the hill, and I hit the ramp. And all I remember was going up, and they said I must have did a backflip or something because I fell on my face. I don't remember where I was, and I scraped the whole side of my face, my whole body, everything. But I have a scar right here that that was a good time. I woke up and everyone said for the boys.
For the boys. What helps you live in the moment?
I constantly have to tell myself to focus on what I can control. That helps me live in the moment.
And if you could give back to your village, what would you do?
I'll buy everyone's mortgage off. If I could, I would.
I guess at this point, go take that money and take down the turbines. All right. Well,
I got quick shout
go
outs.
for it.
So shout out to Gerber Construction. They're on IG. Please click and follow them. Shout out to Brundage. They're a small time family pump company out here. They pump concrete. So go ahead and like them. Shout out to Affordable Fence Utah. They do affordable fencing for your house, whether it's plastic, aluminum, or retaining walls. They do bricks. Shout out to P Squared. Shout out to C4 Designs. Shout out to there's an upcoming Gava Root place over here that a lot of our people, they work at there. So if you like any Gava bars, go check them out. Shout out to all the new barbershops. There's a lot of Polynesian owned barbershops out here in Utah County. Go over there and get liked. And there's also a moving barbershop called Bati Cuts. So shout out to Bati Cuts. He'll hook you up. He's clean with the fades. And of course, shout out to AV Build Utah. Again, I'm giving away a M18 Milwaukee stereo. It's dustproof, waterproof. The whole nine comes with a battery that can last 2 days. If you go ahead and follow me on Instagram, like any of my pictures, and go in the comment box and comment 3 friends, and just keep it going.
All right. Thank you,
All right.
sir.
Thank you, Boo.